Hi everyone, and welcome back to 5 Minute Family Search. So what I would like to do with you now is to show you what your tree may look like when you open up Family Search for the first time if you have just created an account. So Ammon, we created an account for him in the beginning, and I'm going to show you how to add in people to get back to your ancestors. Now this is the one time that we will be adding in living people because we want to be able to get to or access our ancestors, and to do that we have to build a bridge, and we call that a living bridge. So here is Ammon. He is what is called first person. He's in the middle. This is his family tree, so it's obviously going to put him as first person. I'm going to follow this bar up right here, and it says add husband and add wife. So this is going to be my husband. I'm just going to click on it. When I do, it says add parents, and it says child, Ammon Benjamin Maxfield. So I am just going to enter in my husband's first name. I'm going to tab over and enter in my husband's last name. Now it will automatically say male because I said that I was adding in his father, and I am going to mark Merrick as living. And I'm not going to add any more information than just that. And I'm going to click next. And it says you are adding parents of Ammon Benjamin Maxfield. You entered Merrick Maxfield. And I'm going to say create person. So my choices here are create person, refine the search, or cancel. Since Merrick is living, I don't need to refine the search because I'm not trying to find him in the family tree. So I click create person. And now Ammon has a father. So now I'm going to come in and put myself. Same rules apply. I'm just going to come in and I'm going to type in my first name, and I am going to put in my maiden name. Not my married name, but my maiden name. So Jacqueline Morton, I'm going to say female, and I am obviously still living. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click next. And it says add spouse of Merrick, and you enter Jacqueline Morton, and I'm going to say create person. And so now Ammon has parents, Merrick and Jackie, but we still are not back to a deceased individual so we could see the family tree. So I am going to come up here for Merrick, and I'm going to add in his mom. So I'm going to click add mom, and I'm going to type in Charlotte Sheffield, and I'm going to mark her as deceased. Now, she is in the family tree. She passed away last year. I could easily find her by her ID number, and I could have found that and moved it over from my family tree. But for the sake of teaching you, I'm going to go ahead and do it this way and enter in her name. So, first name, last name, she's female, she is passed away, and I'm going to just put her death place as Utah. And to do that, I can come in quickly and I can just go through and it'll filter all the Charlotte Sheffields out, but the ones who passed away in Utah. I am going to come down and click on Utah, United States. See how that pops up standardized? It just lets the computer work a little bit quicker. It likes that more. I'm going to come down to the bottom and I'm going to click next. Now, since I marked her as deceased, it's going to go through the family tree and look for her. And I am going to scroll down. Now see, look, there are several Charlotte Maxfields listed here. And so I can scroll down and I can look through all of these, or I'm going to come back down here and I'm going to refine my search. So I'm going to go to the very bottom here. I'm going to click refine search, and I'm going to put in a little bit more information. So I'm going to say that she was born in Utah. I'm going to come down to the bottom, and I'm going to do this to teach you how to do this. If you come down to the bottom here, it says additional find options. I'm going to click spouse. And she was married to Richard Maxfield. And so that's just going to be a little bit more information for the computer to try to find her in family tree. And like I said, I know she's in there, so the more information I put in, the quicker I can find her. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click next. And it again is looking through, and here she is. Charlotte Sheffield, her birth September 1st, 1936. So I'm going to click add match. When I do that, it automatically puts her here. Now, since she was deceased and in the family tree, when I click out this way, it's going to start pulling in all her information. So she was my bridge. She was my deceased bridge. So Merrick and myself, we were the living bridge, and we had to add that in to be able to get back to Charlotte, who is deceased. Now, Merrick's father, Richard, he is still alive. And me, my parents, they are both still alive. So I can go back through and pull in their information the same way that I did for Charlotte. But I'm sorry, they're still alive. So I would pull in their information the same as I did for Merrick and myself. But then my grandfather is deceased as well as my grandmother. And so I would pull them in the same way that I pulled in Charlotte. So let me just show you another one. Let's come down to me. And that's a 5-minute video right there, so I apologize. But I'm just going to quickly add these in just so you can see. So my mother, well, actually, I started on my father here because it says add parents and it came up as male, so I know that I'm adding in my father. So I'm just going to quickly kind of go through this one. I added in first name, last name. If I come down here, it's a gray box. That means there's something up here that I didn't check that I need to before I can move on. And I need to say whether he is living or deceased. If he's living, it's just going to create him. If he's deceased, it's going to go back into Family Tree and try to find a Ronald Morton. But he is living, so I'm going to mark him there, come to the bottom and click Next. Here it says add parents for Jacqueline Morton. You wanted Ronald Morton. I'm going to say yes. And there's my person, my father popped up. Now let's do my mother. You know what? Let's not do my mother. Let's do my father's father because he is deceased. And then I can show you how to put in a deceased individual again. So I'm going to click Add Husband. And his name was Clarence Morton. And he is male. Obviously, he is deceased. And he passed away in Ohio. And so I'm going to see if it'll quickly pull up Clarence Morton just by saying that he died in Ohio. And I know his information, and so I'll be able to come in here quickly and see if I see him. Now, I don't see him very quickly, so instead of trying to figure out all this information, I am just going to come down here again at the bottom of the screen, and I'm going to say refine my search. Now, he was born in West Virginia. Whoop, that is not how you spell Virginia. West Virginia. I'm going to come down here to West Virginia, United States, because again, it standardizes the place, and I'm going to click Next. And when I do, here is my grandfather. He was born in Clarksburg. I know this is him. These are my great-grandparents. And so instead of having to go through all of those all of those people, I can just say type in a little bit of information on that refined search and it just filters all of those other people that I don't need out. It still did find 23 other Clarence Mortons, but I know this to be my grandfather right here. So I can just click Add Match. And when I do that, you will see that my dad now has his dad in who is deceased, and then here's my great grandparents, and it follows their tree all the way out. So that is how you fill in your family tree. Again, you have your first person starting, which will be you. You'll have your spouse right here. You will have your parents, your father and your mother, and you are considered a living bridge. And you need to keep adding in living individuals until you can get back to the first individual that is deceased that you can work on in your family tree.